The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Whitney Fire Department, Idaho, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38142. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting first, just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks. These are intentioned for operational use and are direct pull 6,000 pounds. Moving up to the face of the front bumper on the passenger side, you'll find your mechanical siren. Just inside that location, 2 air horns. And then all the way over to the driver's side, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Let's move up onto the bumper extension where you'll find your front inlet on the officer side. Just inside that location, in the very center, you'll find a hose storage location, dry deck material in the bottom, and also Velcro tie downs for securing the hose. As we move to the cab on the outer edge, you'll find a marker turn indicator light. Just inside that location, you'll find your headlight structure, housing both high beam and low beam headlights. High beam is located on the inside. In the Pierce grille is where you'll find your unit identifier 17. Also, emergency warning lights forward facing just above the headlight structure and a grab handle. As we move to the outer edge of the A pillar, you'll find a flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 identification clearance lights. And then as we move up onto the top of the roof line, that's where you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar is your opticom in the center. Let's take a look at the side of the vehicle on the driver's side, and we'll focus in on the cab section next, starting with your front axle. There's a visual sight gauge into the front of the axle area, Alcoa wheel, and a Goodyear tire. As we move toward the front of the bumper extension, you'll find a lower zone emergency warning light side facing. And as we move to the rear of the cab in the blue cap, this is the fill location for your DEF tank. Easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are your door lock and latch combination. They are keyed locks, and right next to that is the grab handle for maintaining 3 points of contact when gaining entry in or out of the cab. Directly over the DEF tank is an additional door where you'll find an emergency warning light, part of the lower emergency warning zone. At the very top, you'll find your LED water tank level indicators. As we move now to the pump panel, we'll come back to this in greater detail. Let's move on to the body section next, starting in front and rear of the axle, folding wheel chock storage location. Just above that, in front of the axle, you'll find a marker turn indicator light, and then above that, you're going to find a pan door housing SCBA bottle storage location. Directly over the top of the axle, emergency warning lower zone, part of the side-facing emergency lighting package. To the rear, you'll find fill location for your ultra low sulfur diesel, and then also emergency warning light at the very top section. We'll take a look at the quick back of the truck. We'll come around to that also in just a few minutes in greater detail. Let's take a look at the passenger side of the vehicle, full view, and we'll start in with the body section. Same configuration and layout, although we have the exhaust ported on this side of the vehicle. As we move to the mid section, we'll talk about that in just a few moments, and then also back to the cab section where same configuration and layout minus the DEF tank. Let's take a look at some close-ups of the front bumper, first starting with the officer side of the vehicle where you have your inlet and also side-facing emergency warning light on the bumper extension. Tub storage location for hose storage, dry deck, and also Velcro tie down. Let's go ahead and move inside to the driver's space. First, let's start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information. As we move up from this location, you'll find the combination door lock and latch, and also the lever in red is the lock mechanism. Also, electric windows. This is the control module and a grab handle. Let's move inside the step well area where you'll find at the base of the step wall is where you'll find an air inlet. As we move to about the base of the seat area, when plugged into Shoreline Power, the auto charge status system will indicate battery status. As we move to about the right ankle of the operator on the engine tunnel, you'll find this yellow placard, manufactured for your department, indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation. This placard also has the VIN number, all of the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. At the floor level, you'll find an air horn and mechanical siren foot pedal. As we move up just from this location, you'll find the master battery switch, quarter turn, and then just above that, the green J1939 diagnostic port. You'll also find your pump shift located here. There are instructions from road to pump and also instructions from pump to road. Just as a reminder, you need 2 green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump, before exiting the cab for pump operations. Just above that, some switches here for your ignition and start, and then also a mirror heat switch on the far right. As we move over, you'll find a diagnostics for ABS, and then moving just up to the steering wheel column, you'll find your push button for your horn. It's on the steering column. And as we move to the dash itself, you'll find oil pressure, water temperature, transmission temperature, and volts. To the right, front air, rear air, def level, and water temp. Located in the center, you'll find the tachometer on the left-hand side and the speedometer on the right-hand side. Additional information can be found through the tally lights located on the left and right upper section, and then also diagnostic information will display in the center display module. Let's move just to the right of the steering position to the dash area. General view, we'll start at the very top section, upper left, with the switch panel located here. First is your headlight switch, a dimmer switch for the panel lights within preview of the operator, a wiper indicator on-off, washer and also wiper speed, and then also DPF regen and DPF regen inhibit. As we move further down to the next switch panel, we'll find the engine brake on and off switch, a setting switch for the engine brake for low, medium, and high. The red switch is to engage the high idle, and right next to it is an indicator that's indicating OK to engage the high idle. All the way to the very right is your tire change, which is a protected switch. Moving further down, you'll find your backup alarm override, load manager, and load manager indicators. We also have some warning placards here regarding caution: disengage the retarder when on wet or slippery surfaces. Also, do not engage the automatic tire chains when excessive speed of 25 miles an hour. To the right, you'll find your radio push to talk button, and then your yellow diamond, which is the pull to apply your system parking brake, and push to release. These are the rear spring brakes. Also, Allison transmission pad push button digital readout with a note here indicating pump in drive. Also, mirror control for the left and right mirror. As I move overhead into the officer space looking that direction, let's focus in on the driver right over the head, where you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 3 inches, length of the vehicle, 33 feet 4 inches, gross vehicle weight rating, 45,000 pounds. This also has the 5-digit job number, 38142-01. Also, emergency warning lights located in the very top section, individually switched. To the right, high beam flash, opticom, driver's flood, passenger flood, rear scene, and a siren brake for the mechanical siren, which is the red switch. When any of those switches have been activated, the green light within the switch will activate, indicating the status of that function. Moving just to the right, you'll find your seatbelt information. Red, someone is in the seat and not belted. Green, they're in the seat and belted. Also, you'll find this red light flashing, indicating do not move your apparatus. You may have a compartment open or door ajar. Just down from this location is your electronic siren and PA speaker module. As we look back down to the dash in the center, you'll find window control for the driver front and passenger, also for the rear crew cab. Climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Let's take a quick look to the rear of the apparatus, where you'll find 4 forward-facing seats. The 2 center seats happen to house SCBAs. As we move directly behind the driver's seat, you'll find your auto charge. When plugged into Shoreline power, this will become active. Auto eject on the exterior of the truck on the driver's side, 20 amp Shoreline inlet. Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel, visual sight gauge into the center of the axle. Let's move now into the rear cab portion, where you'll find 2 rear-facing compartments that have netting, LED lighting, and also shelving inside. Let's take a look at the top of that, where you'll find the compartment light, which will activate lights inside the EMS compartments. Box lights located on top of the engine. At the rear of the engine is a lift and turn latch that will gain you access into your daily checks for oil and transmission. Also, just up in the front of that location, a Shoreline outlet. When plugged into Shoreline, that outlet will be active. As we move to the rear of the driver's seat, you'll find your David Clark headset system. And then as we move just underneath the rear-facing seats, additional storage. 2 lift and turn latches will gain you access into this space. And on the rear cab wall is where you'll find your David Clark intercom system for your headsets. Let's go ahead and move back to the exterior. At the base of the cab is where you're going to find your def level fill location. It's a 7.3 gallon tank, and it's the blue cap located in the image here. Let's move just to the right of this location for the pass-through area, where at the back of the cab you have an additional storage location. Also, as we move back to the diamond-plated treadway, which is located between the passenger and driver side, there is additional storage located here. Cross lays are located in the very front section. As we move to the pump panel, we'll start with a few warning labels regarding warning entanglement hazard. Because those lines coming from the crosslay area, there is the possibility of entanglement. Also, fall injury when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. And then just as a reminder, caution, ensure the front inlet swivel is facing forward before raising the cab. And that's because this is your cab lift function right here. There are instructions to raise and lower. We do have some caution and danger placards located here because of the movement of that cab. In the pump panel area, you'll find a large access panel door for visual maintenance into the pump panel. Also, warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. You have 2 2.5-inch discharges located on this side. Also, the large diameter pump inlet. Down at the very bottom, auxiliary driver's side inlet. It's a female valve. And then also, as we move to the very bottom, you'll find all of our color-coded labeled discharge drains. As we move up from this location, you'll also find your pump drain and also manual pump shift. Looking into the pan door area here, you'll find an access panel. This is for access into the pump inlet. This is the relief valve. There is a setting screw for that for pressure. Down in the running board, you'll find a cutout location here for hose storage, and right next to that is the reel rewind foot pedal. As we move to the pump panel, we'll identify a few items, starting first on the driver's side, where we'll start with the driver's side auxiliary inlet. There are also, all of your discharges are located within this plain view. We have speedlay 1, driver rear discharge, number 3, driver's side discharge, and number 1 discharge. Also, you'll find your tank to pump and tank fill clustered together. You'll also have an electric valve here that controls the deluge discharge with an indicator for valve pressure. As we move to the right, you'll find water tank level indicator in the blue module, and also your minimum operation maintenance schedule, which we'll go over in just a few moments. Just up from that to the left, you'll find the booster reel discharge, and then also the passenger rear discharge just to the left of this location. Let's continue to move toward the passenger side of the vehicle. You'll find the speedlay number 2 and also passenger rear discharge. Once again, electric valve controls the large diameter passenger side discharge and an informational gauge here on pressure. As we move down, you'll find the number 2 passenger side discharge and number 4 passenger side discharge. Also to the very far left, you'll find your passenger side auxiliary inlet, and then just underneath that, a warning placard indicating fall hazard. Never ride on the vehicle while it is in motion. Let's move up to the upper portion of the pump panel, where you'll find the passenger main inlet electric valve, and then just to the right you'll find the front inlet, which is an additional electric valve. As we move further to the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. Please see the owner's manual for more information on its instruction. Just underneath that, an audible speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate to either increase or decrease volume level. Panel lights, OK to pump indicator, and then passenger and driver side floodlight switches. Up into the gray module, master intake gauge and also master discharge gauge. In between the two of the master gauges is where you'll find the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. These are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. As we move to the right in the gray module, you'll find your engine information, housing the oil pressure, water temperature, volts, and fuel. Also, you'll find tally lights located on the outer edge for stop engine, and check transmission. Also, tachometer located in the center, that's the larger gauge. Engine cooler and recirculating line, those are twist not pull. As we move further down, you'll find the primer for your fire pump, at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices when drafting. Driver side main inlet, this is an electric valve, and then also a warning here, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. As we move down to the wattress placard indicating it's a pump model CSU trans model C22 1500 GPM. As we move to the minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 psi, the associated GPM is on the left, along with the associated RPM at those test pressures. Down at the very bottom, while in pump mode, we have a governed speed of 2050 RPMs. Let's move into the body section next. As we look in here, we'll find adjustable shelving, LED lighting. The over wheel compartment at the very top vertical wall on your left, you'll find 12-volt access via barrel style. Adjustable shelves and LED lighting. Also a box light on the right side of the vertical surface. As we move to the forward section, you'll find bottle storage for 2 SCBA bottles with retaining straps. Also Michelin tires and Alcoa wheel at the rear. As we move to the very far right, you'll find your silver cap, which is your ultra low sulfur diesel. There is also a retaining holder located here for the cap itself. As we move to the next compartment, adjustable shelving and LED lighting. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus and start in the upper left with emergency warning lights, both passenger and driver side at the top. As we move down, you'll find your rear scene lights, and then just underneath the driver's side, your license plate holder, and then also a cupped switch which will activate or deactivate the rear scene lights. As we move down, we have a brake, turn, and reverse and emergency warning light cluster. Also, two 2.5-inch discharges located at the rear. Moving up to the very top, backboard storage. And then as we move to the lower portion on the right side of the image, this is our ladder storage compartment. Let's take some close-ups. First with the rear scene lights, this is a cupped switch. Just up from this location, there are 3 hose bed dividers. They are movable. And at the very top, this is your backboard storage location. Let's move back down to some warning placards. First, indicating warning entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming from the hose bed area, there's the possibility of entanglement. Also, warning pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also, warning fall. Never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. And also, when climbing on or off the vehicle, make sure that you face the vehicle. As we move back up to the upper right in the image, you'll find the rear discharge 2.5-inch. Also to the right of this location, passenger side, you'll find an additional 2.5-inch discharge. We're down at the very bottom where the tailboard is located. D-handle gains you access into this storage location with LED lighting. Let's move back up to the ladder storage location, 24-foot extension, 14-foot roof, 2 pike pole locations, and also a 10-foot folding attic ladder. Let's move around to the passenger side. We have an upper compartment and a lower. In the lower compartment, an adjustable shelf, and then also 12-volt access via the barrel style. As we move forward to this location, upper compartment again, also 2 SCBA to the left of the rear axle and an oxygen bottle with retaining straps. Let's move back down to the Alcoa wheel with Michelin tires. And then we'll move back up just to the forward location of the axle. You're going to have SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles with retaining straps. As we move forward to this location, I would like to remind you extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operation. We're back up to the upper compartment now. And then down to the lower compartment, we have an adjustable shelf and dry deck material. Let's move to the midsection where you'll find your pump panel. We'll identify a few items within this area. Let's first start at the upper section where you'll find a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard because of the crosslays located in front of this location. Also, warning regarding when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Into the side, you'll find two pan doors gaining access for visual inspection into the pump house. And then also a warning here regarding pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure. There are also two 2.5-inch discharge 2 and discharge 4. As you move just to the left, you'll find your large diameter pump inlet. Because this is an electric valve, there is an override located here. Also, large diameter passenger side discharge, and because that's an electric valve also, there is a knob just inside that for manual override. At the very bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Moving just to the right, you'll find an additional pan door for access to the rear side of the pump panel, and also the passenger side auxiliary inlet 2.5-inch. Just underneath the running board, you're going to find the front inlet and also reel rewind foot pedal. In the running board itself, you'll find a cutout for hose storage, dry deck material in the lower section, and Velcro tie downs. This is the passenger side auxiliary inlet drain. Moving just to the right, this is the pass-through walk area, and there's additional storage location here. As we move to the cab area, same configuration. This is the transverse compartment at the rear of the cab. Let's move just into the rear section of the crew cab area. Starting first, affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch combination. The red is the lock mechanism and a grab handle. As we move inside, you'll find the two rear-facing EMS compartments. Those do have netting and also adjustable shelves. At the ceiling level, you'll find push on and off white or red lens lights, and then also your air conditioning unit. There are 4 seats forward-facing on the rear cab wall. 2 of the center seats are SCBA seats. As we move to the exterior, this is the air inlet for your engine on the officer side, and then also Alcoa wheel and Goodyear tire in the front. As we move inside to the officer space, let's start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch combination, and also lock, which is your red thumb lever, and also a grab handle. In the step wheel area, we have a D handle to gain access into an additional storage space for a box light. On the floor level, you'll find your air horn and mechanical siren foot pedals. And then just as you look under this seat, you'll find an additional storage compartment under the officer seat. As we move to the very top left of the officer's position, you'll find the rumbler push button, radio push to talk, and then also 2 12-volt access barrel style. And then just in the very front, you'll find the vehicle data recording port. Let's go ahead and go overhead into the officer position. First, we'll take a look, push on and off white or red lens lights. You'll also find these red labels indicating spare wiring throughout the vehicle. Also, the rumbler and siren brake are located with this in this area. On those red and white labels indicating spare wiring, it does have the option number and the type of termination. Please don't remove these until your maintenance team has had an opportunity to review. As we move now to the body section, you have 2 storage locations for rigid drafting tubes on the exterior. On the top of the cab area, you have a storage location for your Little Giant ladder. This is a non-walking surface, and we do have that labeled indicating that it is a non-walking surface because it's slippery. As we move into the dunnage area of the midsection, you'll find your master stream device. It is an extend-a-gun. And then also you'll find pole lights located on the passenger and driver side. Back into the dunnage area, find your booster reel. There is also a free tension spool knob and then also manual rewind. When the hose bed cover is closed, you can access top fill for your water tank. This is the forward section of the dunnage. As we move to the rear portion, you have 3 hose bed dividers. This is a walking surface, and therefore we've identified the yellow items indicating the edge of the walking surface for firefighter safety. All compartments open on the driver's side, and then all compartments open on the passenger side. Let's go ahead and move now into the chassis images. This will be with the cab tilted and the undercarriage area. Let's first start just under the chassis. These are the operational use open-ended tow hooks, 6,000 pound direct pull. For towing, the undersection here is your towing loop. This is the front side of the driver's space. As we move along the frame rail of the driver's side, you'll find this bar. This is a safety bar when the cab has been fully raised and equal pressure is both on the left and right cylinder. Please place this bar into position for safety. Do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal pressure in both right and left cab cylinders. As you move through the additional chassis photos, there'll be no additional audio from this point on. Congratulations, Whitney Fire Department, Idaho, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38142. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.